Week 1.
Week 1. W-E-E-K, not W-E-A-K 1.
I'm Rinda.
I'm Jim.
We're Heartiness Approach. Week 1 of this year. And we are so excited.
2020, wow.
It's the
year of perfect vision.
Oh, that's what they mean when I'm like, what's all this vision stuff? I'm just a little dense, sorry. We have a beautiful sunshiny day.
Yes, we do.
We're covering fitness. My fitness guru here.
Guru, huh?
Who's been sick. He's just had a cold, and he's being a good boy and bundling all up because of that.
Yep.
Food, which we've had a good week with food.
Oh, yes.
And emotional wellness. And by the way, on a homestead if you can. That's our setting.
Yeah. It works. It helps.
So Jim's been doing a blog for the news. No.
Just for a blog.
Just for a blog that's on our website about fitness. And you want to share some of this stuff? We're going to share some exercises with them.
Okay.
At some point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As the year starts, it's a good time to talk about exercise. This is a time a lot of us renew our commitment to exercise some, and I am writing a blog that describes why I choose to exercise. I'm going over some of my thought processes and my reasonings why, and I don't think it's disputable. Exercise is important. Everybody says that, thinks that. Some of us may make fun of people who exercise because we really can't see ourselves going to the trouble. Maybe we're really making fun of ourselves a little bit more because we realize we just don't have the gumption to do it. And it's tough. I mean, I doubt any of us exercise as much as we think we should, as much as we want to, and we fall short of that. But there are a lot of reasons to do it, and that's what I'm talking about in the blog is, first of all, we all know we should. Second of all, there are a lot of indications that it's a healthy thing to do. Much study has gone on. There's a lot of examples.
Well, for our bones, for our heart, for our muscles,
but
for pain.
Specific diseases, specific problems like that are talked about as being improved, overcome, avoided by exercising. And then also there's a good body of evidence that points out that longevity happens. Researchers are showing that the muscles and bones of older adults who exercise a lot, they look like they're 30, 40 years younger. So it's hard to look at their bodies from a medical standpoint. You can't see a difference between somebody who's really old who exercises and somebody who's not very old who doesn't exercise. Or even if they do exercise when they're younger.
Except I choose to let my hair go gray, so it kind of gives it away.
So,
and I'm not saying I look 30 or 40 years younger.
Yeah, the graying, whitening hair and the wrinkles, they come, but the internal part of our bodies, the part that keeps us going and having the longevity and being healthy and not having all the pains and aches and inabilities, that can be overcome. That's something that happens not because you get old, but because you are out of shape. Your body's not doing anything.
At the end of this video will be a mile walk that you're going to take with us.
A mild walk, just kind of a slow mile.
Mile, M-I-L-E.
Oh, mile.
That we are going to be...
Like 5,280 feet?
Yes, but we're going to be standing in one place, or several places, but right here in front of the camera. The one was hanging out like that. And anyway, so join us at the end and you can do some fun 1 mile walk on the camera.
On camera. You don't have to be on camera. You can if you want.
Okay.
Still on, right?
There's an extremely important item that has not been talked about on our channel. And the reason it hasn't is because I kind of learned it when I was getting my master's before, but I didn't fully understand it. And now, not that I fully understand it, but I understand it so much more. one of the great problems that we have had with people when we've taught them is, if you do this, this should happen. Or, you know, such and such lost 50 pounds, so I'm going to do her diet. Or such and such lost this, so I'm going to do it that way. They exercise this way, so I'm going to exercise this way.
So we do it their way and it doesn't work.
Sometimes. For us. Not always, but for us. There's an idea called biochemical individuality. And it totally makes sense. We just had 2 baby granddaughters born. And
twins!
They are twins. And they could not be more different if they tried. And it would be like my sister and I.
Well, not just
together.
the way they look, but the way they act, the way they handle things.
Different.
Yeah.
One eats a lot, one doesn't eat a lot, one's awake all the time, one's not. One's a little bit bigger than the other, one's active in one way, one smiles constantly, one smiles a little bit. I mean, they're so different.
Yeah, and they definitely look, you can tell them apart, no doubt.
Yeah. My sister and I, if we had been born in the same womb, would be the same way. I'm older by 19 months. I'm very small boned and, you know, average height. My sister takes after a different side of the family. She's taller. She was able to have babies much better than I could. Her body just handled things so much better than mine. In one way, but then in another way, she had allergies from the time she was in the 3rd grade and migraines. So our bodies are individual.
But you didn't have allergies.
I did not.
Or migraines.
And because as different as Jim and I look on the outside, our insides, or your insides, will look different also. How long is your esophagus? How long is your intestines? How big is your stomach? Number one, you are not going to beat yourself up because this isn't working the way it does for such and such. Don't beat yourself up. Give yourself a break, right?
You're different.
You're different.
You're unique. You're you.
Absolutely. The way you're going to have different food sensitivities, different food allergies.
It sounds to me like what you're suggesting is that we need to understand ourselves, not say that, oh, I'm different, I can't do it, but what is it about me? How does it interact? What are my needs?
And
my needs, not everybody else's.
And how do you find that out? One of the ways you find them out, the Huller family did it with their Whole30 diet. They eliminated a bunch of things and then brought them back in.
So they took a lot of foods that they
took all dairy went out.
So the foods that typically cause the insensitivities, the allergic reactions,
wheat,
that could, all
like
those.
that.
So you eliminate those, saying, okay, for many people these cause problems. So let me see if this is the case for me. Let me take them away,
right.
And you get yourself to the point that you're saying, okay, we don't have those. I'm not having those reactions. I'm feeling different, and you do that for long enough that your body takes all of the problems and stops having them because you don't have the input. That's what you're doing, right?
Right. We're starting to get a little wind, so we're going to move around here. We have never, ever done a detox. It just wasn't something we felt like we had to do. We didn't have any allergies or food sensitivities that we knew about or felt like we did. So we personally have never done a detox. But if you have a lot of different sensitivities and you're not sure what you might be sensitive to, then start eliminating some of those for 30 days and then bring those back in. That might be one way to find out if what you're doing is allergic.
So what do you suggest that they keep eating that's not going to be causing problems? That's a tough question, isn't it?
Oh, it absolutely is.
But that's an important one.
For us, we keep eating everything because nothing's causing us problems.
Right.
But that's not completely true. Okay. Last week when we went and bought the raw milk, as soon as I drank the raw milk, I started getting a stomachache every single time.
We've had a lot of different raw milk providers.
Right.
And we've never had an issue of any type.
Never. So what I did with the raw milk that I bought and what I'm doing with the rest of it is cooking it. When I cooked it, then obviously I'm pasteurizing it. So if they did have something that wasn't right in it, then, it's a disappointment to me because I can't drink that raw milk, that particular raw milk. But we're going to make cheese out of the rest of it, which is fine. But that's an example of, this is not, I don't feel well after I eat this, so I'm going to eliminate that and fix something else.
Perhaps a way to look at this is if you eliminate all of if you include in your diet only real foods, whole foods, things that probably didn't come in a package, so that there's not the possibility of substances being added in that are not normal food items, and that's a starting point.
Right.
And if you're still having the sensitivities, the allergies, then you look at what you're eating and say, what typically causes problems for some people? What are the top 10 or whatever it might be? And those need to come out of your diet for long enough for you to see if this reactions stop.
Right. Now, Heartiness approach has a basis, and we're going to talk to you about that basis. Back inside, our genetics do a lot. They make up a lot of our body, but there's something that can overcome our genetics in many, many cases, and that is our environment, our nutrition, and our lifestyle. And he's a walking, talking example of that, because
other than this cold.
Other than this cold. I was reading a book written like in the 50s on this subject.
As in the 1950s.
1950s. By a man named Roger Williams. And I want to read you a statement that was made by another person who wrote, he wrote the introduction in his book, and I'm going to read it to you because it's kind of profound. It is now well recognized that our genotype gets transformed into our phenotype as a consequence of nutritional, lifestyle, and environmental factors, which are important in determining our health patterns. So I had to go let's look up what genotype is. A genotype is basically our inherited genetics. Let's look up what a phenotype is. A phenotype is our physical description of our bodies and what
our genes create.
What our genes create.
Physically.
And so what this statement is saying is that our nutrition, our lifestyle, and our environment can affect our phenotype by what we do. And for Heartiness approach, let me just reiterate, if you're new to us or don't know us, Jim comes from a very long genetic background of high blood pressure. His parents had it, his sister had it, he had it. We just thought that is the total absolute norm. That's what's happening. So he will go on blood pressure medication, that's what happens. Well, when we went through our change 11 years ago, when he had a health scare and he dropped 40 and then 50 pounds total, and we changed what we ate and how we exercised and did everything, his blood pressure problems completely disappeared. His back pain, where he'd been taken to the ER, was completely gone. And that was a lifestyle change and a nutrition change, not a genetic change.
Right.
So we know that he's predisposed to it, and should we lapse back, then it will come back. Yeah. So we do not have, you need to absolutely eat this. We have, you do not eat this.
Well, there are a few items that many would call not really food. They're invented foods. They're created foods. They're synthesized from non-real food products,
right.
And or foods that have had much of the nutritional value removed from them, and for whatever reason.
So I'm going to refer you to our video on where we started our 8 days to Heartiness, and it tells you how to get rid of the certain foods that you shouldn't eat. What we do is have you eat real carbohydrates that are a starchy vegetable or a fruit or a grain. We have you eat a good protein, which is an unprocessed meat, cheese, grass-fed, pasture-raised eggs, good dark leafy vegetables, quinoa, really good protein, nuts, and we have you eat good fats. So we don't have you eat the fake fats that are the vegetable oils, the seed oils. Those are not things that you would eat. Olive oil, coconut oil, ghee, butter, and there are some oils that you can use that you aren't cooking with. And all the non-starchy vegetables you want. So those are what you can eat. You can eat those if you are a vegetarian, if you're plant-based, if you are paleo, meat, animal-based. You can, as long as you stick to eating those 4 categories, you will be able to be healthy and strong. And so that's what we do.
So you need all of those 4 for building your body, providing the energy, and carrying on the functions that you need to carry on.
Right.
If you eliminate major portions of one of them, you're going to be lacking some of what you need to be healthy.
Absolutely. I was counseling somebody yesterday who, when I brought it to their attention, she goes, I don't think I've had protein in 2 weeks. And she goes, I need protein. And I'm like, yeah. So
and she was having some issues.
She was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of foods to avoid for inflammation. We'll talk about some of those as we go along. But I just wanted to make sure that we got the basics out there so that you understand. Follow the 8 days. If you have subscribed to or purchased our course on 12 weeks, and we are not coming on here to absolutely promote that course. It has a lot of the scientific information. It has 60 recipes in it, and it has daily exercises. But you want to follow us once a week and learn from some of our past videos, that's great too. We're just fine with that. So, biochemical individuality. You are different. You are special. Find out how food is affecting you. Jim is now going to show and demonstrate a perfect way to make boiled eggs. A perfect way to make pasture-raised, fresh boiled eggs. And they peel, and they're wonderful. Here we go.
Getting hard-boiled eggs, what you need, there's not a lot that goes into it. Obviously, you need eggs. You need a pot to boil them in, and I use this for placing the eggs in there so I'm less likely to drop them, which cracks them. That's kind of important. First, we need some water. So we're going to put enough in here to cover the eggs. Next, we need a little bit of heat to make the water hot. We're going to let that set until it's rolling boil, and then we will add the eggs.
We are going to give credit where credit is due on this recipe. Our 3rd son came up with this recipe, he and his wife. I don't know where they got it from.
He's an engineer, she's a physicist. I think there's something going on there.
Anyway, it works amazing.
Come close and take a look. I think we're there.
You're there.
Okay, eggs in here, gently placed in here so no breaking happens.
In rolling boil.
Move over, guys. Give me space. There we go, gently placed. We're going to recover and set our timer for 10 minutes. Right?
Right. Hit start.
So in 10 minutes, we're gonna get a beep and we'll know it's time to cool the eggs down so they stop cooking. Beep went off, fire goes off.
So then you just put them under cold water.
It's getting a cool down fast.
Yeah.
So let it go.
I'm not going to show you how they peel. These are 2 eggs. These are cold already. I will say I feel like they work a little bit better when they're cold, but they work anyway. Oh, got a little bit of the eggshell thing there. I should probably, see there? That's what I wanted to show you, is how sometimes that just comes right off. And then I want to show you what it looks like on the inside. The perfect 10-minute egg. And it makes really good, I take these to work and they're soft. They're not hard, they're not dry. They're just really, really good to eat. I would think that if you wanted to be able to make them for an egg salad, you might want to cook them just a little bit longer if you want them stiffer than that. We'll follow this up of a picture of our breakfast this morning where we had oatmeal with apples and boiled eggs. I wanted to let you know something that I found out this week. One of the important sources of food is being able to get your body to absorb it. Turmeric, we know, is a very, very powerful spice that has a lot of antioxidants and different items in it that are extremely good for the body. It is very hard for the body to absorb it. Has anybody talked about that? No. I found out what you need to do whenever you use turmeric in a dish, put a little bit of black pepper in it with it. What is in the black pepper allows the turmeric to be absorbed by your body. That's quite the tip of the week. We wanted to show some exercises. You remember I talked about it at the beginning. And so we thought, well, instead of just doing it in the house, we wanted to show you that you could just do it in your house, but we thought, well, let's just go out into nature.
We got fancy.
So you're going to see these exercises without our talking because it was too windy. And we're completely bundled up and we're in our flannel jeans. And cold. And then we did the whole 15 minutes, which when you walk it like that is a mile. And then we found out the video turned off after 5 minutes. So you're going to see the gist of it. Yeah, we're trying to get the steps together and it doesn't look very coordinated.
But you don't have to be fancy. Just get out and move, right?
The whole idea is to keep your body moving and going up and down and doing things for 15 minutes. Actually, if you do 5 minutes of warm up and then just 10 minutes of real,
a little more intense, a little faster pace,
then you have walked a mile.
So add your own moves, whether it's the way you step, the way you move your arms, the way you twist your body. Just do a variety. Pick up your knees. Just a variety, whatever you feel like you want to do, and do that after your 5 minutes of warm up, 10 minutes of fairly intense, maybe 9 minutes of fairly intense, and then some cool down time.
And, at the end, you slow it way down. You keep moving at a slower pace so you can cool down. You get 15 minutes. It's a mile.
And
it's
then hug
great.
yourself because you're awesome. because we went into nature, and the reason we wanted to is because so often we sit in our homes and we're like, we're too busy, we're too this, we're too that, and we don't get out where we can enjoy nature, which is so fulfilling for our bodies. So we're going to show you this beautiful creek and the snow. It was just really nice. Followed up by, what did you do?
I went and harvested some elderberry canes. We're going to turn them into starts. And the time to do that is typically after the first frost. You can do them this late. Some people wait until they start to bud and then they do them. So it really depends on what you want to do. So we've got them now when they're totally dormant, and I'll cut them off according to the directions that are there. We're going to keep them cold and actually outside as if they were in a refrigerator until we're ready to start them. And then we'll show you what we do to get them started. And we'll take you on that journey to see how well they do take. We're excited. This is something we've read about, we've seen on videos. And we're doing it ourselves.
I parked along the road in the snow. And Jim is hiking up the mountain to get some elderberry cuttings so that we can have them to grow in our yard.
Now we're going to be planting this in Tim and Connie's
food forest
that they're putting together, but Tim's already got the place designated that he wants to put them in along their fence line, so it'll really add to their fence line. You know, not this spring, they won't be tall enough this spring, but the following spring they'll have a beautiful fence line as these elderberry they come up. The canes are going to be up tall. I mean, they get pretty darn tall. And when their kinds come out with the blossoms, these white blossoms that are going to be sticking up, it is going to be gorgeous.
He's not excited. He loves elderberries.
Well, but they are a gorgeous plant. People plant them just for the way they look, not for the fact that they get the berries off.
And for us, the medicinal purposes are so great. And we only have 1 quart left because we really tanked down between us and Tim and Connie. you know, when you're fighting off colds, we do it up to 4 times a day, a little bit of it. And so we need to pull some more out of our freezer and make some more.
Anyway,
maybe on next week.
We're going to have, I don't know how many I got. I mean, I got a lot of very long ones that can be cut down, that you get them fairly short. And there are going to be a lot of them that get planted. So there are going to be several, I'm sure, that take for Tim and Connie. They're going to have a great elderberry, what do you call it? Not a forest, a...
grove.
Grove. So it's going to be fantastic.
Sounds good to me. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We enjoyed doing it. As you can tell, we've done it over several days, and that's probably the way it'll be.
Yes.
So, see you next week. Thank you. Like, subscribe, ask your friends to join.
Yes.
Bye-bye.